going to have to make some very, very tough choices this year because Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have passed this big bill that's going to hurt people in Illinois.
What are those tough choices? And does that mean tax increases coming to the land of Lincoln for the new fiscal year starting July 1st? It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning where you can join the live chat and take part in the conversation. Or you can catch the program here in full replay on YouTube or with the podcast. Just search Illinois in Focus. You'll find it, or you can get segments of the show. So we've been tracking what's going on at the Illinois legislature. We're in the final week. Okay, it's Tuesday. It's after Memorial Day, and you had the Senate in yesterday. They recognized Memorial Day and for what it is. Then they gavelled out. That allowed them to get to town so that they could start work in earnest for the rest of the week. But it also allowed for them to get their per diem, which I think is like $170 plus $190 per day per member. Some of them even get travel numbers for traveling to the Capitol. So Senate was in yesterday. They didn't advance anything. But all of last week and this week, we're seeing bills lined up to pass to the governor. And it's the final few days of legislative session. All last week, they passed a total of 164 bills that are ready for the governor's desk. We reviewed some of those last week. I anticipate they will be approving dozens more. How many? Potentially hundreds more. We could see, 80 bills passed out of both chambers today. We could see 80 bills passed out of both chambers tomorrow. Where exactly is the budget? We haven't seen that yet. And that's something that I think is on a lot of people's minds because we could possibly see tax increases. There have been talks about a $6 billion tax increase. The Illinois Revenue Alliance looking at taxing corporations more, or going after investment income or certain types of other taxes to raise $6 billion. And they specifically line out that money would be used to help with immigrant services. It would be used to fund other programs and such. So you've got that idea that's been floated. Are we going to see a kind of a cherry picking of different tax increase ideas as part of that? There's also been the idea of increasing service fee taxes. Illinois does not tax services right now. So that haircut that I need to get sometime this week, if it's possible, so that, nail job that you might buy for your wife as a gift card, or you're hiring a lawn crew, or having a plumber come in. I mean, these are different types of services. Even streaming services could get taxed. That's another idea that's been floated. We haven't really seen any substantive debate happen in committees on these tax ideas. It's all been in the media, environment, in that atmosphere. But are we going to see this week those types of things surface? And when exactly are we going to see those things surface? It's a great question. But as of the total transparency for taxpayers, the governor did propose a $55 billion spending plan in February with broad outlines of where he's going to have money going to education and pensions, some of the largest obligations that Illinois has, but then all the other programs that there are. Several weeks ago, Republicans decried what they said were $1 billion of taxpayer funds going to non-government organizations. And is that, being accountable? So you've got that in the mix as well. Well, last week I asked State Representative Daniel Didich to kind of give us an update of where we're at on the budgeting process. He's a Democrat from Buffalo Grove. He says they're essentially doing what they've done the past 7 years, where he says they've balanced the budget and they've got credit upgrades under Governor J.B. Pritzker's budget, and the Democrats working with their working groups behind closed doors to craft the budget before bringing it out last minute. Where's the transparency in that? I asked him about that.
It's the same process that's produced 6 consecutive balanced budgets. It's the same process that's earned our state 9 credit rating upgrades.
But you've also got other problems with the structural debt of pensions, and now we've got almost $750 million cliff for the transit authorities, more money going into education, but not having the best outcomes. There's a whole laundry list of issues: high corporate taxes, not being competitive to attract more investment, energy production. I mean, all these economic factors work into it as well. But Republicans, they're in the super minority at the State House. They feel shut out. Here's Noreen Hammond talking about the budget process and how Republicans really haven't been part of it.
I had a couple of meetings with some of the budgeteers from the House Democratic Caucus up until a couple of weeks ago. We had a couple of meetings, they're very high level, 10,000 foot, if you will. Nothing of any substance.
Nothing of any substance. And one of the other things I asked the Republicans, and we may talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, is member initiatives. These are special carve-outs in the budget for certain member districts. So a legislator says, hey, I've got this group here that needs this money. I'm going to request it as part of my $1.5 million allotment. But Republicans say they're not given that chance to get those district programs funded in their Republican districts. It seems to only be senators that are given that line item to say, you've got rather Democrats to get that line item. You got $1.5 million for each state representative and $3 million for each state senator to have in their own district coming out of the budget. Republicans say, though, that those are a lot of times empty promises. They're given that line item, but it's never fully funded. And then you get into that whole mess as well. But State Representative Brad Halbrook on the House floor last week, he talked about how Illinois needs to really look at what's going through the federal government, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, and all of the various things that are in that. Moving through Congress, right? It's already passed the House. We talked about the state and local tax deduction aspect of it and how that could help Illinoisans, but some worry it may also enable the state to keep its taxes high, because SALT allows for you to deduct high taxes in states like Illinois, California, New York, and such, but you can deduct high taxes off of your federal tax return, so that could possibly benefit Illinoisans. But again, it may enable the state to just keep their taxes high if there's an opportunity to write that off from federal taxes. Another conversation that can go into a different direction as well as the whole rich state, poor state, and is Illinois a paying state or is it a taker state? And that's a conversation worth having, I guess. But ultimately, you've got a variety of other things in that so-called Big Beautiful Bill. You've got the issue of the non-citizen immigrant health care subsidies and how the federal government's essentially going to be saying that if states are going to fund this, it's going to have to be using state tax dollars, not federal tax dollars. We'll see how that impacts Illinois. But other things like the estate tax being impacted in the Big Beautiful Bill that Republicans call it coming out of Congress. You've got the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime, no tax on auto loans or interest. So we'll see what happens with all that. But State Representative Brad Halbrook highlighting one aspect in particular, saying that the Illinois legislature needs to follow suit.
But while the federal government is moving in the right direction, Illinois is stuck in the past. We are only one of a few remaining states that still impose an estate tax, and our exemption is far lower at just $4 million. If Washington can recognize the harm of estate taxes and take action to shield families, Illinois should follow suit. At a minimum, we should match the federal exemption levels, but I believe we should go even further and eliminate the Illinois estate tax altogether.
And we're going to
So that, again, was State Representative Brad Halbrook talking about wanting to eliminate the state tax in Illinois altogether. That's another part of the Illinois Revenue Alliance's $6 billion tax increase, which had a whole bunch of different things in it that would change as far as the tax code. But one of them was taking Illinois' $4 million threshold for the estate tax to kick in and lowering it to $2 million. So it would be even more of a burden for small businesses and farmers alike who want to hand off their property to their next generation when they pass away. So there have been efforts, though, bipartisan efforts at the State House to increase that threshold from $4 million to $6 million. Well, Halbrook's proposing getting rid of it altogether. So I asked, again, Daniel Didich about the possibility of tax increases. You got this long list of all kinds of tax increases that have been floated What are you guys talking about behind closed doors? What are we going to see before the end of this week, the final week of the legislative session?
And we're going to have to make some very, very tough choices this year because Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have passed this big bill that's going to hurt people in Illinois.
So did it used expletives to describe the bill that's moving through Congress, not as a big, beautiful bill, but as a big censor tone bill. He said that 3 times when I asked him about transparency for taxpayers in Illinois when we're going to see the budget plans and what kinds of sacrifices or tough decisions are going to have to be made. Like, people can interpret that as tax increases. It's going to be an interesting week. There's no question. So hopefully you'll stay with us and stay informed as to what's going on here in Illinois as we track the final week of spring session. And is this going to lead to us coming back in the summertime? There have been people already speculating that because of this bill that's running through Congress. Is it going to cause the state legislature here in Illinois to reassess how it's getting funding? Is it going to be the big, beautiful bill that does that? Or is it going to be more action from the DOJ withholding money? Or is the state of Illinois going to have education funds withheld from the federal government for, DEI or for the transgender sports issue or whatever the case may be? We'll be tracking it. So get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys had a wonderful Memorial Day.